The moment she understood the whispers, her hands went cold, her breath caught in her chest, and the night around her seemed to lean closer, as if the city itself was listening. The guards stood just a few steps away, their faces calm, their posture perfect, but the words they murmured in Chinese were sharp and deliberate, slicing through the quiet like a blade. In that instant, she realized the car waiting at the curb was not meant to take the millionaire home. It was meant to make sure he never arrived anywhere again. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second right now. If you believe that kindness can change fate, that second chances are real, and that ordinary people can make extraordinary choices, please like this video, share it with someone who loves meaningful stories, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. She was not supposed to understand them. To the world, she was invisible, just a quiet woman standing near the hotel entrance, hired through an agency for temporary assistance, her presence easily overlooked by men in tailored suits and polished shoes. But her childhood had been shaped by a language she never expected would one day save a life. Raised by a grandmother who spoke Chinese fluently after decades of work abroad, she had absorbed the words slowly, unknowingly, like rain soaking into dry ground. That knowledge had followed her silently through life, and used and almost forgotten, until this moment. The millionaire emerged from the glass doors behind her, tired but relaxed, the kind of man who believed danger could always be managed by money and security. His day had been full of meetings, negotiations, and promises that shifted markets and moved millions. He trusted systems, trusted people in uniforms, trusted that wealth built walls high enough to keep harm away. The car door was already open, the interior glowing softly, inviting him to step inside and disappear into the night traffic. Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure someone could hear it. The guards' whispers replayed in her mind, each word clear and terrifying. They spoke of timing, of making it look like an accident, of how quickly everything would be over once the car reached the highway. She felt fear rise like a wave, threatening to drown her in hesitation. Who was she to interfere? Who would believe her if she spoke? One wrong move could cost her job, her safety, maybe her life. She thought of how many times she had stayed silent before. Times when something felt wrong, but speaking up seemed too risky, too inconvenient. She remembered regret sitting heavy in her chest afterward, the quiet shame of knowing she could have done something. Standing there under the cold lights, she understood that this was one of those moments life would never give back. Silence would be easier, but it would haunt her forever. As the millionaire stepped closer to the car, she moved before her fear could stop her. Her voice came out low but urgent, her body tense, every instinct screaming at her to run even as she stayed rooted in place. She didn't accuse, didn't panic, didn't create a scene. She simply warned him not to get in, her eyes wide with a seriousness that cut through his exhaustion. The guards stiffened instantly, their calm slipping just enough to confirm her terror was real. Confusion flickered across his face, followed by irritation. He was not used to being stopped, especially not by someone like her. But there was something in her expression, something raw and unpolished, that made him pause. Years in business had taught him to read people quickly, to sense lies and hidden motives. What he saw in her was not ambition or manipulation, but fear mixed with determination, the kind that came from knowing something terrible and choosing to speak anyway. Seconds stretched thin as glass. The city noise seemed to fade, replaced by the sound of his own heartbeat as he reconsidered the simple act of stepping into the car. He looked at the guards, then back at her, noticing details he had ignored before, the slight tremble in her hands, the way her shoulders squared as if she was bracing for consequences. Something deep inside him shifted, a survival instinct honed long before money entered his life. He chose not to get in. What followed unraveled quickly. A call was made, protocols activated, new security summoned. The guards were detained, their whispered plan exposed under scrutiny they could not withstand. Investigators later confirmed what her warning had prevented, a carefully staged betrayal, motivated by greed and resentment, planned to end in a high-speed accident no one would question. Headlines would later speak of a narrow escape, of a threat neutralized just in time, but none of them would fully capture the fragile courage that stopped it from happening. For her, the aftermath was overwhelming. Fear lingered, mixed with disbelief at what she had done. She expected blame, interrogation, maybe even dismissal. Instead, she was thanked quietly, then publicly, then profoundly. The millionaire, shaken by how close he had come to losing everything, sought her out not as a powerful figure, but as a grateful human being. He learned her story, her struggles, the way life had taught her to survive quietly without ever expecting recognition. That night changed them both. For him, it shattered the illusion that wealth alone could protect him, reminding him that trust should be earned, not bought. For her, it proved that her voice mattered, that the pieces of her past she once thought were insignificant had purpose. Opportunities followed, not handed to her out of pity, but offered with respect. She found herself stepping into a life where her courage defined her more than her position ever had. As the days passed, the memory of that moment stayed vivid, not as fear, but as clarity. One choice, made in seconds, had rewritten two futures. It was not a grand heroic act seen by crowds, but a quiet decision to care more about doing what was right than staying safe in silence. If this story is touching your heart right now, if you feel that ache of emotion that comes from realizing how powerful a single choice can be, please pause for a moment and show your support. Like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so more stories like this can reach you. Before the ending, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below with the words, "I would speak up," if you believe you would find the courage to act in a moment like this, because somewhere out there, right now, someone is standing at the edge of a choice just as quiet and just as important. And maybe, by watching this story and feeling its weight, they will remember that even the softest voice can stop the darkest plan, and that sometimes, saving a life begins with the bravery to say one simple warning.